Hi everyone, Steve and Nathan here from Oz Talk. We've got some exciting news. Guys, we've been invited down to New South Wales to Precision Racing. This shop is off the hook.
We've actually driven all the way from Queensland to come down to New South Wales to see what they have hidden in their shed.
So we've actually seen a couple of these high-end, high-performance cars make their way up to Queensland. So we're going to go inside Precision Racing, have a chat to the owners, see what they're all about. Let's go!
Man, let's go and have a look at some of these cars that they've got sitting around here.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty hot, eh?
Yeah. Well, you can see up in the first hoist here, you got a fairly new GDR. It's up in the corner. Another GDR. You got an Audi R8 behind us, twin turbo, and then you got two Lamborghinis on the other hoist. I mean, right next to us here, you've got a track car Lotus. In the dyno area is a Mustang. GT3 Porsche. Man, these guys specialize in so much, dude. It's not just a GDR shop. Like, there is even Falcons, Evos. Like, dude, and I guess having that much variety, just you can do whatever you want, man.
I reckon we go and have a look at the other part of the shop. This is nothing.
I think we found your part of town.
It really is.
There's Falcons behind us.
I'm in heaven.
Let's go have a look.
So we've got an XR6.
Falcon. Have you seen the plate? Falcon Hell. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Someone
pretty
spent
cool.
some time on that one. Another Barra setup. We got next one. We got here. We got Evos on the hoist. We've got Honda Civic Type R. That's one for Paulie. Racks and racks of engines and gearboxes. You're always going to need them spares. Another Evos. Another Falcons. Mate, this place is like heaven.
So the great thing about Precision, they actually do everything.
And not just, you know, from your minor servicing all the way up to high-end build, engine builds, you know, making from 100 horsepower up to thousands of horsepower, mate. Yeah. The sky's the limit in this place. All right, so we're in the garage of Precision Racing. We've got the man of the hour. We've got Aaron here. He's going to run through all the details and how he started with the business. Let's hear about it, mate.
Shit, how we started with the business.
Oh, you got a mic on? Yeah,
I do have a mic on. Yeah, so it all started about 9 years ago now. We started off in the Evo scene. As many of you might be aware, push the boundaries of that model vehicle. And as we do, we go on to the next thing, and it was GDR. Started pushing the GDR scene for about 3-4 years. And that's around about when we decided we needed to move to a larger factory. And we got on board with Joe, made it Precision Racing. Prior to that, it was Precision Automotive Racing. So we moved out to Riverson, New South Wales from Kings Park. Pretty much what you see today is where we're at. And we're pushing into new markets, developing newer model cars. The GDR is still definitely bread and butter, what we do day in, day out. But we're trying to push a lot more of the V10 stuff right now. So.
So were you a racer growing up, or how did it all?
Yeah, so the whole thing started as a hobby.
Yeah.
I'm a fitter machinist by trade in Sparky, so I'm actually not even an automotive mechanic.
Yeah.
Which is, a lot of people laugh at that. So I was always heavily involved with assembly and, fitting machining. You're right into developing machining products and making things stronger and in different industries. And I was always racing the Evo, done a lot of work myself, and then eventually it became a job. So that's essentially how I got into that. and it was due to racing. So
Sure.
racing weekends, pretty much like a lot of our customers today, I see them going out, once a week and whatnot, and think, shit, that's what I used to do. So yeah, it definitely started out that way, and it's much the same with Joe. So he was involved from a young age, like in Top Fuel. His dad was a cylinder head specialist and engine reconditioner. So he got all his experience from that and growing up, involved in Top Fuel and same deal, hobby. And he got into the barras at like a young age and was doing, at that age, he was lucky enough to be playing with computers and doing tunes and stuff from home. So that's how he started. But yeah, racing is definitely a massive history for myself and sort of faded out sort of now. I'm more going to the track for other people to sort of enjoy and race.
That's what happens when you have your own business, isn't it?
Yeah, so we end up going to the meets and whatnot, but it's not usually me in the car.
So I see you've got a pretty amazing team you've built. So everyone sort of has their own job specific to each thing.
Yeah, that's right. I think every person that works here has their own specific job, like you just said, and the whole thing can't happen without one of them, So which is really good. It gives everyone some kind of specialty and exclusivity. It also controls everything properly the way we want it. Right, so everything's done at the best possible way by someone who's an expert in that area, and we share the load. So it's good. It makes for a good team.
Yeah. So I was actually talking to one of your mechanics before, and he said it's kind of like a family here. Everyone sticks together, works together. He said he loves it here. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Good feedback.
Yeah, it's good feedback. I think the morale is awesome. The last sort of 2 years, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
The guys they're just awesome to deal with. They're happy to be here. And you can tell, when you walk into work, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like we're at, whatever you think it would be like in like an F1 race team where you're getting paid to do what you love. That's what it feels like. Yeah. The only stressful part is deadlines. That's the only stressful part. What we do is absolutely beautiful. Deadlines and getting parts by certain times and customers wanting things, and that's especially these days. I wouldn't have said this 2 years ago.
Yeah, of course.
But now that's the main stress of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us exactly what the PR stands for? Because we've seen on some of the cars that there's PR16. And...
Yeah. So when we changed from precision automotive racing to precision racing, it was more just giving an initial to the whole concept, right? Instead of having to say precision racing all the time, you just say PR.
Yeah.
Right, so it's just initials for precision racing. And then with our builds, we name some of them, not all of them, based on the horsepower that the package is supposed to produce, wheel horsepower generally. And that started from a fair while ago now, where our PR12s would be tapped out at about 1200 wheel horsepower. Now our PR12s make 1300. Right, we're not going to change the name of the package, but they make 1300.
Yeah.
The PR16 was actually around the 1550 mark because we're limited by turbo size.
Yeah.
And the efficiency of that turbo in that frame and being able to fit it in the car. Now you can get the same frame turbo that makes a little bit more, and you've got two of them. So now we're making sort of 1600, 1650, closer to 1700 on a PR16 package.
Yeah.
So I guess the only thing that really changes is the horsepower and the results, but the package name stays the same. So whenever you see like a PR number beside it, that's what the horsepower.
Well, we go out to Queensland Raceway, and roll racing is key. And when you see a GTR with a PR and a number on it, gives you an indication.
You back off.
You
stay away.
You're going to have a bit of a race with your kids.
If you're not an all-wheel drive car, you probably go. But then again, there's a lot of two-wheel drive cars up there that I know that are doing really well as well. So, yeah, I guess it's and that's sort of Australia-wide. We get it in WA, in Melbourne as well.
Yeah, which just gives you a bit of pride and
it's good.
Proud of what you've done and what you
Yeah,
built.
of course. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, there's been times where we don't even know roll racing's on in all these states, and then we wake up to messages going, "Oh, I won," and then someone will come from another state like, "Oh, I won last night as well," and it's like, how many roll racings are on in the last 2 days?
Yeah.
The roll racing's good. It's definitely changed in the last 3 years. That's for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Go back 3-4 years ago, I think if you made 1200 horsepower, you're the king. Right, like you can go there and go, oh well, if I'm a bit slow off the mark, I'm gonna hunt him down.
Yeah. No, you don't.
now it's like everybody has got the maximum amount of power that they can physically get down to the ground.
Yep.
And it's just whoever can either drive better
Yep.
or get on it quicker.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to catch half a second on
Yeah.
anybody. So if someone's got a half second delay, which is not much in terms of time, but a lot in terms of distance, you're not going to get him. Yeah, so if you look at some time ago where I felt like, 1,300 horsepower, these cars live forever, which they do at that power, and we're going there and you're just belting everything. Whereas now it's like, no, we need to make sort of 1,600 and keep it together, and the driver has to be on song.
Yeah.
Like for it to even have a chance, not to win,
Yeah.
to have a chance of winning.
Yeah. Because even at that level, the GDR, even though it's got all grip, it's still wandering.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all, we use like a torque by gear through the Motec ECU.
Yep.
That helps out a fair bit, but you're still limited by traction and driver. It's just there's a lot involved, and it's not easy. And I always say to all our customers, the fastest car doesn't always win, and that's the truth of it. Yeah. And everyone knows that. People have won races, and we have as well, and we're not the fastest car.
Yep.
We've won races going, we fluked that because we know what that car can run.
Yeah, it's just come down to pedaling your car, knowing
Being
your car.
lucky, really. Yeah, like they had a bad start.
exactly.
Or they couldn't get any more down, or they didn't think they needed it, so they didn't have the gas on, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just lucky enough to back it up, or whatever it was. Yeah.
So we actually saw on socials the PR Bulls actually made its way to Queensland.
Yep.
We saw it out last roll racing last
Yeah,
month.
so I kept it fairly quiet.
Not until you see it and it's bright green.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Look, it was sort of known that it was for sale within a small group of people.
Yeah.
Because it's a special car to me, so I didn't want to just flog market, right? And then have every random, send emails and messages saying, "Oh, I'll give you this." So I just notified like a few people, and I knew that within the small circle that someone would definitely want the car. It's worth what it's worth.
And what PR kit is on that one?
So it's pretty much very, very similar to our stage 3 package.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up from a stage 2, but down from a stage 3 in terms of just driveline parts.
Okay.
Yeah, but so if someone wanted to take that thing drag racing and just run numbers, then I'd be like, no, we need to upgrade a few little things to make it a full stage 3. Okay. Just drivetrain components. But the thing's got a full gear set in it and makes around 1460 wheel horsepower, around that. You're not getting full power down to about fourth gear, yeah. And I mean, it went 8, I think, at Kooralbyn, which is unprepped. So gives you an idea. And back-to-back runs.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea, we've had PR16 GDRs run 8.8.
Yeah.
So I think our fastest was an 8.5, and that's over the past 5 years.
And is that all-wheel or rear-wheel, that WAM?
All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive? Okay.
Yep, they're all
So
drive.
you've got another one coming too, don't you?
Yeah, so the STO, which is just the, I guess, latest Huracan variant.
Yep.
So it's sort of like, what can I say, more extravagant. Carbon body, like a lot of the body's carbon, it's lighter. But also, it's lighter because it's only two-wheel drive, right? So the car's produced only in two-wheel drive. There's no four-wheel drive option. The whole point of getting this car isn't really because we want to save 50 kilos or something like that. It's more just to update the face of the shop. You know, like we've had that shop car since 2018.
Yep.
We've done all the development on that car. It was ordered in hope that Motec would accept it to do the package development on it. because at that time there was no Motec ECU package for the car, for that whole market. So it took about 9 months to get Motec to approve. They let us know about a month prior to receiving the car that it was a go-ahead.
Yeah.
And I sent the car straight to them. I had it for a week and sent the car straight to them, and they had it for about 3 months, and they'd done all the development for the ECU package. So if it wasn't for them, I dare say would be using, I think we still would have went ahead with doing our packages, but would have been using a different product.
Okay.
And there's only one other product in the world, Cyvex ECU. And we just aren't that familiar with it and wanted to stick to the Motec brand, especially it's Australian made. Yeah, so we work closely with the engineer that designed all that package. And over the last sort of 4 years, we've pushed boundaries, we've learnt a lot. The package is always getting better and better in terms of ability to do things like control front drive, which leads me to the STO. We're going to make it all-wheel drive conversion. Okay. So the STO won't just be a rear-wheel drive car that's going to have silly power.
Yeah.
It's going to be essentially a stage 4, which is 2,000 horsepower package. We've done probably, we're at 3 2,000 horsepower packages so far for customers.
Yeah.
The shop car can't really be like one of our baby packages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think it's enough. I tell everybody that 1450 horsepower is plenty.
Yeah.
There's no need for any more. I mentioned to you guys earlier off camera, but you're not getting any more than about 1,700 horsepower down until you're after 5th gear.
Yeah.
So it's a 7-speed.
Running out of track.
You're running out of track. 6 gears sort of, 6 is like 1-to-1, so you'd be crossing the line in 6th gear. So it's definitely a short ratio, but 2,000 horsepower is for drag strip prep track. There's no way you're going to get it down otherwise. So whilst it does have a leading edge over the smaller packages, you're not using it until after 4th gear, which is you're well into 200 k's an hour.
Yeah. So
for a road car, not required. Yeah. But a lot of our customers are very, very competitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's not really anybody else that does these as how can I say this? Not as well as what we do them, but as much as what we do, the effort that we put into this market in Australia. So usually the customers that are doing these 2,000 horsepower packages are up against beating our other customers.
Yeah.
So we end up with this war between customers, friendly of course,
Is it?
that are just trying to...
Is it friendly?
Some of them aren't. Some of them aren't.
Yeah.
The Lambo guys, they're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The GDR guys are a little bit
Yeah.
on the... It's almost like they're fighting. It's every man for himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, they end up just sort of racing against each other as customers,
Yeah.
which is quite hard because then you've got a guy that makes 2,000 and another guy that makes 2,000, and it's like, well, how come he beat me? Someone's got to lose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's the reaction times and comes down. to
yeah,
petrol
like if we had
as
2
well,
stock
so
cars from a manufacturer,
someone's
gonna lose, right? But it's different when I've got to explain that.
Yeah.
I just remembered that one of your other cars actually went to Queensland as well. Your GDR.
GDR, yep. Richie's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's same deal actually. I didn't list that car for sale. It was all just through word of mouth, and he was looking. Do you know what? Back then there was a lot of people looking for GDRs. So that car sort of sold itself before it was really ready for sale. Yeah, and that's another guy that's sort of went crazy. That was a PR12, like a made 1300, which I say is plenty, but
And he came straight back.
yeah. So it's one of those things that you just, once you feel something like that for the first time, it's just it's an addiction.
Yeah.
And the fact that it gets it down is what makes you want more.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's wheel spin, there's no point adding 300 horsepower.
No.
I mean, Barra guys seem to do it still, but
So do those VL guys, I think.
yeah, the VL guys. Yeah.
Like they're really good at
Hold on,
800,
Yeah.
really good. Then they decide to put 900.
I need more wheel spin. Yeah. Must be more spoke, right? to the PR Bull, new owner's going to do a lot of events. I think he's been out a fair bit in the car still.
Yeah.
We're going to obviously continue to support the car. The car's awesome. I still have sort of an emotional attachment to it. So...
Well, that's why we had to come down. Mate, up in Queensland, you see PR on something, and it's like once we had the invitation to come down and have a chat and check out the shop, it was perfect, man.
Yeah, cool.
So we all just jumped in the car, we're like, we're going.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's going to rain this weekend. We don't care, we're going.
Yeah.
And now that situation, like when you're running any mechanical performance shop, you know, you always have the best reputation and going in other states. And we're racing against your product in other cars in other states. Man, that's... credit to yourself.
Yeah, thank you. No, and it is hard, and it's always a little bit of a worry. It's like, hang on, we've got cars that are so top tier in terms of high performing, which means that they're also everything's pushed to the limits.
Yeah, high strung.
Yeah,
for sure.
highly strung in hands that we don't really know. You know, we don't really know our customers well most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, beyond a personal point, where you're giving them this machine and then hoping. A, are they, doing all the correct things to make sure they don't break it? And then B, they're not going to kill themselves in it,
they
right?
can steer.
Really. That's right. Because, the last thing I say all the time is be careful, These kind of things you can't, you need to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
From what we've seen though, you have a very good support line too. Like you still go out to the track and help your customers.
Yeah,
like
look,
you said before.
it's definitely harder for when it's interstate.
Yeah,
like I said, half the time I didn't even know that they're going out tonight. Mexico runs and stuff like that.
We won't
and that's
talk about that.
That's I'd have to catch a plane. So, of course, if it's Sydney, we're usually there every time. And it's mainly for customers, like it's not for us. Like I took my car out just before it went because I was like, oh, it's going. I'm going to take it out.
Yeah.
And give it one last go, just for myself. Because prior to that, it was all work, essentially. We just go there for work, support the guys. But it was actually really nice. It was nice to actually sit in there and me enjoy it for what it was without having to think about everything else all the time. But yeah, we try and support everybody, and it's unpaid, so we don't get paid to go out and support the cars that we've built 2-3 years ago. Yeah. So it is part of the love for it.
Yeah.
And just giving the customers that feeling of being
we are there. And
yeah. But we can only do so much. It is in our own time, so it does get a lot. Sometimes, especially when it's rained a fair bit, there might be 3 events in 3 weeks, like over 3 weeks.
Yeah, because you get pushed together.
That's right, they get pushed together, and the hours that any sort of performance automotive shop will do is crazy. It's not normal.
Yeah.
We try and limit that because it's not great on a personal level. But then when you've got all those events that line up, it's also difficult to attend all of them,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then you might get customers that might not attend all of them, so you're sort of letting one down if you don't go. So we try and do our best in terms of attending events and stuff like that.
So mate, what's your latest builds you got happening at the moment?
So there's a GDR behind us here. Probably can't see too much, a lot of the plastics are off, but R35 from Queensland actually, so your hometown.
Yeah.
And this is a PR16, right? So this is one, we call it a PR16, but it'll probably make about 1700 horsepower. It's non-dry sumped, and that's about the limit of no dry sump.
Yeah.
When you're going that fast, the G-forces just push the oil away and you starve engine of oil.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the limit, but this has also got the biggest turbo that we can fit of that frame size. So it's a 68mm compressor wheel and a 75mm turbine wheel.
Yeah. Certain branded turbos?
Precision.
Others? Yeah, Precision.
Yeah. And it's all about, our PR12s are a Garrett. So it's not because we like precision over the Garrett, it's what works for that particular power in that frame turbo, so that size. Prior to these ones being available, we used to use the G35 1050s, and that was on Imran's car, Mr. GDR.
Yeah, Mr. GDR.
Mr. GDR. And that's gone 7.9 at like 180 mile an hour on the first hit.
Yeah.
And that was on a fresh build.
Yeah.
So they're no slouch even with a smaller turbo.
Yeah.
And that made about 16, 20 wheel horsepower. So yeah, so this one will be obviously very quick. I think he's only sort of going to really do roll racing and whatnot. From what I've heard, Queensland's track is shorter than ours, so he's probably not going to be any favourable over like a PR12 in my opinion. I mean, on a prep drag strip, obviously we can put more power down in second and third.
Yeah.
But I mean, a 60-foot time is not going to change on a PR16 to a 12. And in a roll race event, you're limited by traction until third gear.
Yeah.
So if you're crossing the line at the start of fourth gear, PR16 over PR12. PR12 is probably better because it's more responsive. You've got small turbos.
Yeah.
So this car's probably an overkill for roll racing. Yeah, I know a lot of the Queensland guys, they're either all in or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very big. It's either go big or go home.
That's right. So. Yeah, very competitive as well, which is good. But New South Wales has some crazy cars. You know, there's a lot of money spent on, and they'll break it and just fix it and come back out.
Yeah.
Fix it, come back out.
Yeah.
All for the bragging rights.
Aaron, so we've noticed around the office and around the workshop, you've got a couple of trophies and some awards from Kooralbyn. So you want to tell us about that one? Yeah,
so we've been doing Kooralbyn for probably, I wouldn't even know, maybe 7 or 8 years now. Like it's been long term, and we go religiously every year. It's something to look forward to. Obviously, it was started off with the GDR scene, GDR challenge, and now they do the drag battle so that other models can get mixed in with it as well.
Yeah.
Which is lucky for us because obviously we sort of pushed the GDR scene big and then now we're venturing out of the GDR scene. So they've actually had to start making new race rules to allow for different cars to race each other.
Yeah.
So one of them is now the V10 category, which is really good. We push for that because there's more and more that want to go and it's sort of not fair if they're lining up against a 4-cylinder all-wheel drive or whatnot. So they've made the category for that. So yeah, we're lucky enough over the last sort of 6-7 years, we've managed to win Ultimate Street Car, which is sponsored by TurboSmart. The event requires you to drive about 2 hours from halfway between Sydney and Kooralbyn to the airport strip. You get there a day early and Andrew, the promoter, runs through the car. We drive it on the circuit for best time. He drives it to check drivability, gives it a hit, sees what it feels like. Yeah. And drivability during that as well, you know, stability and whatnot, how it makes him feel as an overall build. So he's listening out for noises and the feel and drivability. And then the next day, we're doing drag racing. So standing start, unprepped track, it's an airport, 400 metres. And your 2 best times are then averaged, and that is what dictates your best time for that car. And anyone that enters has to do all of them, and you get points for all the categories. And we're just lucky that the cars that we do are pretty much the ultimate street car versus any other car that attends. So we're lucky enough to win that category every single time, touch wood for next year. But yeah, so a lot of the trophies are for ultimate street car.
Yep.
And then we've got also GDR drag battle, we've run a few there, and then and all your other categories. So now the V10, obviously we're the only shop that's bringing all the V10s, so we're clearly going to win that one.
It'll be disappointing if you don't.
The best part about it is that the last one we went to, George's R8, was a fresh build. It was actually a surprise that the car was going. He didn't think it was going to be going. We didn't even talk to him about the event because we had further works planned for the car. And we were like, you know what, let's just surprise him, get the car so that it can run with the turbo system on, and we'll go to Kooralbyn with it and just see what we can do with it. Ended up getting the best time for the V10s. I ran an 8.6 at 171 mile an hour, stock engine, stock transmission. So that's not something we would normally do for a customer. Yeah. It's pushing the limits, and we warrant all our packages. So at that horsepower, we normally build the engine and you've got built transmission and whatnot. But George is a very close customer, and we're like, you know what? I'd do it if it was mine. So I treated it like it was mine. Went out there and surprised him with the car. And he, first time driving it, and he went 8.6 at 171. And it was like pretty much 8.7s all weekend. So it was 3 days, over 3 days of just pumping the car, and loved it. So whilst it's not something I'd do for a customer, it was good to see that the cars are so strong. You know, that was making around 1450 horsepower. The other cars that were out there, we were followed by my car wasn't there last year, but we had 2 other Huracans, built engines, stock transmissions, and same power, and they were like 8.7s. So they're all very similar. It was harder to get the Huracan down the track because both of them were sort of very lowered, so they had suspension upgrades, and there's a bump after about the 60 foot, and that unsettled the car for the whole of third gear.
Okay.
So we could get more torque down in the R8 with stock suspension than what we could in the Huracans with modified suspension, which equated to about 0.1, even 0.2 of a second, because George's, whilst it was 8.6 at 171, the slowest Huracan went 8.8, so 0.2, at 179 mile an hour. Yeah. So it's got 8 mile an hour on him, which is obviously he's putting down more power. Yeah. Built engine. So the stock suspension in the R8 definitely worked better than lowered suspension in the Huracans. But yeah, it was I guess the best thing about the whole thing was not only did we win the V10 class, we won the Ultimate Street Car and a number of others. I think we got a GDR, I think, trophy as well. Yeah. And I think, was it maybe Motive Choice? We won a bunch the last year, but we always come back with trophies.
Yeah, you win so many.
It's good.
Can't remember all of them.
Yeah. But awesome event, and I guess very similar to a certain point with what you guys are doing. So we're keen as to get involved there as well in Queensland.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be the no prep stuff's awesome because that takes. It's not just horsepower then. It does require a little bit of talent and trial and error. You can go with a car that's sort of half set up, but it really needs on the day fine tuning because that track will change even throughout the day. So the morning will be different to the afternoon.
Yeah, we've noticed that.
And even just the rubber laid off changes big time.
Yeah. So normally we at Cooter, the second day is probably better, and sort of like afternoon, sundown is best. But after the third day, the track is actually better because of the rubber on the track. So is it the same with you guys?
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. And when you're tracing numbers, I mean, yours isn't timed, so we don't have to worry as much. But when you are seeing a number, I guess it's good feedback from a tuning point of view. We can go, right, where are we seeing wheel slip? Where can we add more power because the track's getting better? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good balancing act. It's fun. It's all for the customers just to enjoy themselves yeah.
So I keep looking over. That's where all your magic happens. That's your office, is it?
The dyno. Yeah. The dyno cell. Yeah, so we've got a all-wheel drive chassis dyno there.
Yeah.
Which allows us to do, I guess all your all-wheel drive cars. It's not a link dyno, so Euro cars and whatnot, we don't do on that all-wheel drive chassis dyno. Okay. We have to pull the front shaft. So anything that's high horsepower all-wheel drive that runs some kind of clutch pack for the front drive, Haldex in the Euro cars or the ETS in the R35s, we remove the front shaft and we run them on the hub dyno. Okay. Yeah, so it's two-wheel drive hub dyno from mainline. And it's rated at 3,000 horsepower, so it should be all that we'll need for a while, hopefully.
For at least a year or two, right?
Yeah, I think
it seems to be going up.
Well, they underrate them. So, I mean, we did recently just move from a Dynadynamics 2000 that was causing us problems with the V10 stuff. We haven't really had an issue with the GDRs. It must be just the way the thing comes on. Okay. I've made 2100 on the Dynadynamics with a methanol GDR, or 2150, with no big issues. But then if you get a big nitrous V8 at 1350 horsepower and it's massive hit at 4,000 RPM, the dyno will slip, even though it's rated at 2,000 because the axle speed's not up. Yeah. So we recently upgraded to the mainline that's rated at 3,000. But they say that they're good for like 3.5. So I don't think we'll ever need to change that.
Aaron, mate, we would like to thank you very much for inviting us down to PR, mate. This place is overwhelming. Yeah. For someone who's a mechanic and someone that races, mate, this is heaven. Yeah. You're doing a really good job, even for us from up in Queensland, just to be invited down to come and see you and have a chat. Yep. Mate, it's a highlight for us for OzTalk. So,
awesome, that's good.
So thank you very much, mate.
Thank you.
No worries at all.
You're welcome anytime. And yeah, we're happy. We want to be involved in the events as well. Yeah, we want to come up there because everything seems to be down this way all the time. Yeah. But it'd be good to get involved and show these Queenslanders as well because I think that the Sydney guys are slow for some reason.
Nah. So what do you mean, think?
Well, we are slow, so you have nothing to worry about. Yeah, we'll just come up there and play, but as long as we're all having fun.
guys. So we've just finished with Aaron, and now we've actually got the other business partner, Joe. So thanks for having us, Joe.
No problem. Thanks for coming down.
So what is it you specialise in precision racing?
What I do is the factory tuning side of thing, the calibrating of the factory ECUs, TCMs, so like the transmission control modules, transmission building, engine building. I basically float around and do a bit of everything, whatever's required to make sure that the guys are being efficient.
Okay. So you sort of focus on the Barras and the Coyotes and the Mustangs and...
Yeah, so the start was the Barra, the Falcons is where I started, and sort of escalated from there, doing the ZF transmission, moving that into the Coyotes, the Mustangs, the 6-speed Mustangs, moving into the 10-speed Mustangs, as well as the GDR, the GR6 transmission, and the DL800 from the Huracan and R8.
Okay.
Yeah, just all transmission based.
So what programming do you use on these?
Everyone's a little bit different, every different software for a different TCM or module. PCM Tech is the big one. We use WinOLS to do the custom calibrating of the Huracan stuff. ECU Tech for the GDRs. Yeah. So there's a few different things you have to learn, but yeah, it's exciting. I love it.
Okay, so it's a pretty good partnership. You've got both sides of everything covered, don't you?
Pretty much. To be honest, it's the best thing I could have ever done.
Yeah.
Merge with Aaron, and the combined knowledge and what we can do together and what we've achieved, it's unbelievable.
Well, from what you just told us before, within a year you had to get next door.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were in next door before, and it's pretty chockers.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's cool. When we bought this one, it's like, no, this will be fine for a while.
Yeah.
And literally within a year, we're like, holy shit, we need more space, more hoists, and yeah, it's just progressed.
Yeah.
The team that we've built is incredible. We trust them with everything.
Yeah.
Which is a huge thing in business and in motorsport. We're playing with people's lives, or essentially people's lives are in our hands. We can't have any silly issues, and we're confident that our guys can deliver what we need them to.
And that's a credit to you guys, because you build such a good product, and you test all your cars before they go out to customers.
Yeah.
And
you have to. It's a part of the whole experience. Aaron and I will go and test and do whatever we need to make sure that the cars are Mickey Mouse, especially when they're getting shipped interstate.
Yeah.
But even it's the same thing if they're local cars too. It's that full-time support that make people comfortable in coming back and supporting us.
You said you did the ZF boxes and things like that. What's involved? Everyone's sort of scared of them.
Yeah, there is a lot involved, and it's a lot of trial and error. I blew up heaps of boxes in the beginning. It was basically build it, test it, break it. Again, that was a week in, week out thing, and until I worked out or started understanding how they work and why they work. And once I understood that, it transformed or transferred over to the other transmissions. So the 10-speed, the GR6, the way the clutches work in a dual clutch transmission is very similar to an automatic clutch pack actuating. So the knowledge that I gained from the ZF and the 10-speeds transfers over to the GR6, the GDR trans, including the front-wheel drive pack. It's a clutch pack as well. So they're super technical, and there's a lot to them. At the same time, they can be super simple.
And do you have issues with stock supply with parts and things like that?
Always. Basically anything that's manufactured that's steel is a weight. So that's another reason that we specialise in what we do. We'll bulk order to make sure that we have it on hand for when we need it, because if you go on an event and you're breaking something or whatever, we'd prefer to have it in stock than have to wait months and months for certain parts to arrive. But yeah, we generally try and keep all that stuff.
Yeah, and there's probably a certain level of a PR kit that goes out that you kind of cringe going,
Yeah, depends how often it gets used and whatever, but we've built them or over-engineered, I guess you could say.
Sure.
So we know where things are going to break and when they're going to break, and we make sure that we're changing them before things happen rather than waiting. Which is all R&D.
Effect.
No, exactly. So that's why we did the testing on our own car. Like Aaron did the GDR testing on his own car for years and years before we developed the first PR package. But now, yeah, people can just jump in it and go and have fun.
Okay. So what's the biggest package you're sort of doing on a Mustang and...
Mustang, so we do our own twin turbo packages, which we developed from scratch. They're low mount turbos. That same turbo kit, it stays the same throughout the stage 1, 700 horsepower, all the way up to 1200 horsepower stage 4 package. You just add a fuel system or an engine or a transmission on the way up. So once you buy the initial kit, it's set, and then you just do the bolt-ons to keep going. Unlike a supercharged car where you buy the supercharger, you make your 800 horsepower, and then you'll never make any more because that's all it's going to make. You have to remove it, sell it, whatever, and purchase something else.
Yeah, it's always upgrading, whereas you're building along the line.
Exactly. We're trying to stay ahead of it. We've done the R&D on my own Mustang. I bought it brand new in 2018, and we basically started from then. And developing and seeing what we'd break. I basically broke everything.
Well, you have to.
You have to. It's the only way to do it. It's first-hand experience is the only way to do it, which is why how we try and do all of our packages and why we specialize.
Yeah, of course.
It's when people ask, can you do this or that, like a certain model, it's like, well, we could, but we don't specialize in it. There might be somebody else out there that specializes in it, that are going to do a better job than us or the first go.
Yeah.
We specialize in what we know. And it's all proven.
So just going back to the start, are you a racer? Do you have a racing background, or did you just wake up and say, I want to build race cars?
It all comes from my background. Helping Dad at his workshop. He had a machine shop growing up. Okay. So I was there every weekend, sweeping the floors and washing parts and whatnot. It's a sort of a bit of a drag racing background, so that's where that come from. No prep and drag, track racing. That's the background of it, I guess. That's sort of just, it corrupted me from a young age to love the motorsport.
Yeah, it's in your blood.
That's moved into me. I basically drive all the cars for the first time, or take the customers for their first drive in the car just to show them what to experience, because it's, when you jump in a PR12 or a PR16, it's a lot to take in for a first drive. So I take them and basically scare the shit out of them. And show them what to expect, and then that way they can work up from there. Yeah. Some of our customers are pretty cool. They let me take their cars to roll racing, and we win the Terminal Speed Challenge, and I generally race it for the first time at the track just to make sure it's all perfect. That way now it's like, yep, signed off, hand over, now it's yours, off you go.
And it's training yourself to drive these cars at this level, because like you said, a normal person that jumps in these things, first thing is I've got to back off. It's going way too quick. Literally,
it's so common that we go to the track and the car doesn't perform like they expect it. And it's like, hold on, were you wide open throttle? Yeah. Pull the Motec log, 50% throttle. It's like, what? I was full, you weren't.
My thumb got caught.
Yeah, so it's a running joke that we make them pull their seats as far forward as they can so that they can't come off that throttle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's all part of the service, I guess. So, I mean, I love driving them.
Yeah, it's it.
So yeah, that's good. But it's good to be able to hand them over a proven package or a proven car.
Yeah. And it's good to see you get to still race. You're not one of those people that only work.
Yeah.
You see that a lot these days, that all these shops are so booked out and they haven't raced in 5 years.
Yeah,
it happens, yeah. Well, I'm grateful or lucky that I get to race the customer car rather than my own, or I haven't really spent time on my own car in a long time. But yeah, to go out and run a 7-second pass, and make it look easy. It's in a genuine street car too.
Yeah.
That's, we're hoping to get some of these cars to your event and do some no prep racing, and hopefully see some pretty quick passes.
Yeah, well, I think we've got one of your Datsuns coming out.
Yep, yeah.
And what's he got in his?
That's a Barra Datsun, so it's a Barra 1600.
Yeah.
He built it all himself in his shed. Credit to him. It's going out to test actually this weekend. Well, maybe not because of the rain, but in the next couple of weeks, as soon as it dries up, just to make sure the car's perfect to get it up there. But that'll be fun. That'll be a scary but fun car.
I hope he's towing it.
Yeah, he's actually building a trailer specifically to get the car there. So he's really excited to come to the event.
Yeah, no, we're excited to see it. Awesome.
I've been on the phone to him. He's pretty excited. He's got his units booked.
It's going to be fun. You really need to bring something down here. If you can do an event down here, I think it'll...
We've been asked. We've been asked, but finding time to... we still want to race, but that's not happening lately. So we're trying to get there, but we would really love to have one down there.
That'd be epic.
Joe, we're going to ask a question about your warranties
Yeah.
on your vehicles with these PR kits, because we know that these are highly strung cars, so we want to know what you're going to cover and what you're not going to
Yep.
cover.
Basically, obviously they're a race car. They're high maintenance, which as long as you're on top of it, which we take care of all the maintenance. That's basically part of the deal. We have to maintain the car, and if you have an issue, we'll look after it. Once you get up to that PR16 package, it's like, this is a highly strung car. You can't expect to go race every weekend and nothing's going to happen, because it's mechanical. Something's going to happen. If you're abusing it, it's going to happen. Which then, so whether it's a front drive clutch pack, transmission gears. So let's say transmission gear set, for example, it's a PPG gear set. It's a billet gear set. You can still only do X amount of passes on it. Doesn't mean it's never going to break. It's an expensive bit of gear, but it's the best you're going to get. If it was a circuit car, they rebuild their transmissions every 6 meetings, and that's a whole brand new gear set. So it's like, just because you've done it once doesn't mean it's never going to happen again. But we're here to support you. We're not just going to leave you in the lurch. Things with the R8 platform, R8 Huracan platform, with our stage 1 package, we basically say, hey, we'll warrant your driveline. If you hurt your engine, if you hurt your trans, we'll cover it, we'll sort it, because we're that confident in the package and everything, the R&D that we've done, we've broken it. We know what's going to break and when it's going to break and how it's going to break. So we're confident in saying, yeah, we'll sort it. Yeah. It's on us.
Yeah. And that's a credit to you guys, because like you said, you've done the testing, you know the knowledge, you know what you can push up to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all part of the R&D.
With electric, have you thought about moving into that scene?
Well, basically you just asked, what's next, or what are we looking into for the future? And we ordered a Plaid. Who knows when it's coming, but I think EV is definitely the next thing that's going to happen, whether it's hybrid or full EV. Yeah. Like the new Lamborghini that's coming out is hybrid, front electric assist. So that's the future, and we're keen to get involved.
Yeah, and those things, they produce a lot of torque.
Ridiculous amount, yeah.
And that's, I think that Tesla's a 3-motor.
Yes, and it's all torque control. So, hopefully Motec have something in the works too for us to use for things like that, and have it all torque modeled and get the car down a no prep track or something like that. That'd be cool.
Hey Joe, thanks heaps for having us out here. It's been great.
No problem. Thanks for coming down. Really appreciate taking the time out to come and check it out.
Mate. It was perfect.
So it's a pretty big eye-opener what this have got going here.
I'm glad. It's humbling to hear those sort of things. Like, we work really hard to make this all happen, and appreciate it.
You guys won't believe what's happening. Hi guys, we got some exciting news for you. November 26th and 27th, we've got our next event, Quick Street. It's going to be awesome. We've got a few more extras coming out.
So we've got first to finish lights.
That's going to look awesome for people standing up this end.
It's an actual proper no prep finish lights.
Yeah,
first
awesome.
to finish lights.
Yeah, it's going to look really good.
And we're going to have 3 cameras along the track.
Yep.
You will get the best view of the whole track.
Of the race, yeah, for sure.
And we're going to have 3 big screen TVs as well.
Yep, so everyone can view everything at any time.
Yeah. Kids under 12 are free. We're still running kids rides.
Yep.
We're still running the live entertainment, the bar on site, and the camping.
Yep.
And don't forget the Powers Kids.
Yeah, true. That's my favourite. The schedule for the weekend, we'll be having passenger and solo runs run together, so we get more opportunity for everybody to have more runs on the track. Then we'll have a lunchtime special followed by the power skids in the afternoon. Please come down. It's going to be a great event. We're supporting a great cause, AusAid. Bring your cars down, race your mate. We're on a no prep track. It's going to be a really good weekend.